So this is one of my favorite moisturizers. I emptied 4 in the last year. And one of my favorite things about this is the lightweight texture. When I asked Alex about it, she said, oh, it's a reverse emulsion. Finding that out, I was gagged. So we're here today in the Educated Miss Lab to show you how to make Sake Bomb because it is my favorite moisturizer, but also to explain to you what is a reverse emulsion. But here's the deal. Alex did not give me the formulation. So I have what I think is the Sake Bomb formulation, and she's going to guide me. In front of me, I have all the raw materials. The main point of Sake Bomb is, again, it's a reverse emulsion. That means that the water phase is the internal phase, but the external phase, which is generally the oil phase, is actually more silicone focused. So this is the targeted delivery system for the peptides. This features a specific encapsulation of the peptides to ensure adequate delivery so that you get the actual benefits from the peptide. This is a specific marine ferment. This is from LipoTrue, and this is the bacillus ferment on the Inky. And I love a fermented ingredient, and that's one of the amazing things about Sake Bomb. It's a really lightweight water-based moisturizer. And then this is the fermented byproduct of the sake production. Trade secret. So I did go ahead and start the water phase just to melt down the preservative system because it was crystalline, it needed to dissolve properly, and we always want to preserve our products. Next, I'm going to start actually with the oil phase. Also, before you get bug wild in my comment section, I'm not wearing gloves. I'm making this for me. My hands are clean. Nothing here is dangerous. So first things first, I like to measure out my more solid adjacent ingredients. So this is actually the emulsifier. This is SPI 7092. Any chemist actually is high-key afraid of a reverse emulsion. They're very hard to work with and make. But Alex has very, very famously been like, no, this emulsifier is the girl. She will save your life. She makes it so easy. On top of that, you mess it up, surprise, you actually didn't. You can actually save the emulsions. And then based off the batch size I'm making and how much of the water phase and everything I think there is, I'm gonna guess I'm gonna do about 25 grams of this. Is that right? Just say yes.
Actually, yeah, that is pretty close.
You just never know how dense these raw materials are. Professional. Next, I'm gonna go in with the liquid portion of this oil phase. First things first, I'm going to be doing the squalane. I'm always shocked there's squalane in this because it does feel very, very lightweight on the skin. She did tell me it's a little bit more than I think it would be based off the texture. I'm gonna guess between the ballpark of like 10 to 15% squalane. 2 shots of vodka. Ugh, perfect, my mind. And then dimethicone. We love dimethicone. Contrary to what some people say, dimethicone does more than just help with the way things spread. And especially when you're making something for more oily skin individuals, it's a really beneficial ingredient to have because it gives them the incentive to use the product without feeling heavy and greasy and nasty on the skin. And again, because we are using dimethicone, that's why the emulsifier is so special and so different. So surprisingly, this is not a water and oil emulsion, it's a water and silicone emulsion. So next we're adding in the cyclopentasiloxane. This is a really fun silicone-based ingredient that is volatile, and once you spread it, this is the part that basically flashes off the skin, gives you amazing spreadability. We're adding in a lot of this. And so this is actually a really big factor as to why the texture of Sake Bomb is so lightweight. I'm gonna be generous with this one. So the oil phase is done. We're gonna put this on the hot plate, and I'm gonna finish up doing the water phase. Actually, fun fact, so this is apparently a cold process. For those of you who don't know, that means you don't have to heat this up at all. You're seeing a lot more cold process-based emulsions like this because it kind of tells a really good sustainability story. You're not using as much energy output to create the product. And it's one of the bigger areas right now for raw material innovation. So I'm gonna set this aside, come back to water phase. One thing about these reverse emulsions is you do have to do an electrolyte in the water phase. It helps with emulsion stability as well as with some of the structure of the emulsion. Sake Bomb uses sea salt. You actually will find salt in a lot of cosmetic products like foundations, for example. A lot of foundations are also water and silicone emulsions. So again, it helps with stability. It helps with the structure of the emulsions as well. You also find it in certain cleansing products because it can help with the viscosity of some sulfate-based detergents as well. You'll often see different versions of salts in products. So this is obviously sodium chloride, just regular table salt, but you also see like magnesium sulfate or zinc sulfate at times. It's already in the water phase. That's what we had to melt prior, but this is same H. This is hydroxyacetophenone because Alex is sensitive to phenoxyethanol. She had to find an alternative, so that was a really good option for more sensitive skin types potentially. Next, we add the humectants in. These are those famous ingredients that help to hydrate the skin. In Sake Bomb, that's going to be glycerin as well as hyaluronic acid. Fun fact, for a lot of ingredients that they take a little bit more time to dissolve in water, one thing you could do is to make the dissolution of the powder actives in water easier, make a slurry. So what we do is we take some of the powder active. This is hyaluronic acid. You don't need a lot of hyaluronic acid to get the benefits of it. And you measure that out in a weigh boat. And then usually you use glycerin and you mix the two together. Alex told me this is very glycerin rich, so we're gonna pour it up. The hyaluronic acid very quickly dissolves into that, and then therefore when you add the slurry into the water phase, it just very easily stirs and dissolves in. You do this a lot with like the ingredients that allow you to like gel up the water phase. Does this look right?
That's good, yeah.
Add that in. I only did a small portion of the full amount of glycerin we're gonna add to this, so I'll be adding some more glycerin right after. And then we're just gonna add the rest of the glycerin. And the last step of this is adding these star actives for sake bomb, the sake ferment. Because of the sake bomb, this is the star of the show, we're doing a lot of this active. The bacillus ferment, which again, I love our fermented ingredients. We're using a lower percentage of this. And then last but not least, that ultra special peptide technology. This is X50 hyalofiller solution from Infinitec. Again, when it comes to peptides, I lean more skeptical only because you can't always guarantee delivery, but something like this that has that specific encapsulation basically to allow for more guaranteed delivery, I see that as, okay, I'm actually buying a product that has a high chance of being beneficial. And you don't need a lot of this to get the advertised claims of the ingredients. So we have our water phase done. We have our silicone oil phase done as well. Now we're gonna combine these. And again, the magic, so Alex claims, of that specific emulsifier is you can cold process it. Just add the water phase up into the oil phase as it's stirring. You don't even gotta homogenize it, and it forms that emulsion. Okay, so I'm gonna turn that down because we're introducing way too much air into that. I'm doing this just the oil phase right now, just to make sure all of that oil phase is evenly mixed. So with a standard reverse emulsion, you add the water into the oil phase very, very slowly, almost drop-wise. And actually the amount of water in reverse emulsions determines the final viscosity. Thanks to this specific emulsifier, you have a little bit more forgiveness. You don't gotta be as slow. And again, if it doesn't look like it's going right, let's turn up the speed of the mixer and fingers crossed it should be good. So we're gonna try that together. Okay. So I'm adding it slowly. I'm gonna turn up the mixing speed. And also normally you homogenize this, but we're just using a regular overhead mixer. Okay, so I've only added a little bit of the water so far. We're gonna add a bit more. You can see an increase of that viscosity already. And again, that emulsifier, making this a breeze, easy breezy. Maybe I am a chemist. Another amazing thing about this emulsifier and how we're making this formulation and why I like sake bomb is because it is such a lightweight gel texture. The viscosity never gets too rich, so we are able to use just an overhead mixer. You're able to incorporate both phases together. You build that viscosity, but it doesn't get too thick and heavy and rich. I feel like Beyonce making Renaissance. I'm gonna crank that Soldier Boy up a little bit more just to increase the RPM. You can see, even looking at it right now, it is thicker, more viscous gel texture. So we're just scraping along the sides to ensure as much of the formulation is getting into that vortex. We're not getting any basically dead spaces. This is increasing the turbulence of the mixture, but it's not as rich as I want it to be. As I mentioned earlier, in order to build up that viscosity up, it's the water phase, the internal water phase, the amount of those droplets in there, that's going to affect that. So I'm gonna add a little bit more of the deionized water into there. Let's do little by little. And just like that, I reverse engineered it. I did it, y'all. I made my own sake bomb. Just because I think I made it perfect, let me have Alex be the judge of that.
You made it perfect, huh? Well, first let's compare your version of sake bomb to what is in the jar. It's mine. Yeah, that's pretty close. You did good. Rub it in. So you're getting that fast break.
Yeah, I broke fast.
See? Water burst. Technically, that emulsifier kind of creates somewhat of a weak emulsion, and you think that that sounds unstable, but I only mean weak in terms of as soon as you apply it and you start applying that mechanical pressure, you see the water droplets come out of it, but it's fully stable, and because it doesn't require heat, you also don't have that issue with, it was so much more stable and heat thaw stability than a standard emulsion with waxes, which I thought was very interesting when I was formulating with it. But anyway, you did really good. Okay, let me just check out your formula, this is what you did?
Yeah. Again, this is the Ramon version of sake bomb. Limited edition, LTO offering.
Pretty good. Mm-hmm.
You see that?
Oh yeah. You got pretty close. You did good. I'm proud of you. For your first time especially. Did you like working with that emulsifier?
It was really fun. It was really cool. It was really easy to, not having to heat it and not having to homogenize.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot easier too, so.
Game changer, and it allows for so much more adjustments at the end. Exactly. So yeah.
Thank you. Let me know in the comment section what other educated Miss product you'd like me to make next.
And maybe you'll stop harassing me about sake bomb now. We let him make a whole big thing of it.
I got my own. So if you need me, I will be lathering this all over my body.